Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. How are you? I hope you're doing fine. This is Cambridge Lower Secondary, Book 7. Today, we are going to start exercise 13.3 after getting a concept of mutually exclusive outcomes and the equally likely outcomes. Now, we are going to do something about experimental probabilities. We have done about theoretical probabilities. Now, we will do experimental probabilities when outcomes are not equally likely. We can use an experiment to estimate probabilities. So that is called experimental probability. For example, if you drop a drawing pin, it can land point up or point down. There are two possibilities, two outcomes, that either it will point up or it will point down when it land on, right? But we cannot assume that these two outcomes are equally likely. That is, are they 50-50%? That is, every time when I'm going to spin it, I'm going to draw it, so it would, there is 50% chance that it would point up or point down. So what would be the probability of the drawing pin landing point up? We can do an experiment to find the experimental probability of the drawing pin landing point up. For this, what do we have to do? We have to drop a large number of drawing pins, and then we have to work out the relative frequency of point up. That is, how many times it pointed up out of the total number of drawing pins. That is, how many times did I draw it, and out of that, how many times did I get point up. So this tells us the experimental probability for the point up, and similarly for the remaining ones, it would be the probability for the point down. Okay, so starting with question number 1 of exercise 13.3, let's see what is there. It says a survey means an experiment has been carried out, of 400 cars traveling along a road is carried out. So it means it's an experiment carried out. So it's an experimental probability that we are going to get out of it. So if 400 cars are traveling along a road, what are they telling us? Later, they are saying the results show that 140 cars were traveling faster than 60 kilometers per hour. So if there were total number of cars as 400, out of which 140 cars were traveling faster than 60 kilometers per hour. So it means there are two categories. What would be the second category? That is, the other cars would be traveling at 60 kilometers per hour or less. So how many cars would be there? We can easily calculate it by subtracting 400 with 140. So the answer would be 260. It means 140 cars are traveling at a speed of faster than 60 kilometers per hour. That is, they have the speed faster than 60 kilometers per hour. So the remaining cars, that is the cars after 140 and below 400, that is 260 cars, would be traveling at 60 kilometers per hour or less. So how can we find the probability for it? So what do we have to do? We just have to find out their percentages. So for the first one, that is traveling faster than 60 kilometers per hour, what are we going to do? We will simply make the fraction like 140 upon 400 and multiply it by 100%. Similarly, for part B, what are we going to do? We will do the same, but this time we are going to take 260 upon 400 multiply by 100%. It's that simple. You just have to make the fraction and multiply it by 100% to get its exact probability. So we will cut the 2 zeros with the 2 zeros, again to 2 zeros with the 2 zeros, and then we will simplify 140 with 4. 4 ones are 4, 4 threes are 12, 2 is left, 2 0 20. So 4 fives are 20. So the probability for the cars traveling faster than 60 kilometers per hour would be 35%. And the remaining one would be 65%. Let us see. 4 ones are 4, 4 6 are 24, 2 left, 2 0 20. So 4 5s are 20. The answer would be 65%. That's it. You see how simple it is. Now the next question. there are 320 students in a school, 320 students. This is the total number of students. Then they're saying 16 students travel to school by car, 96 students walk to school. There are two different categories. So out of 360, sorry, it's 320. Out of 320, 96 students walk to school, 16 students travel to school by car, but it's not the total. If we add 96 with 16, we will not get 320. It means there must be a third category as well. And that third category would be, because if we add 96 with 16, we get 112. Okay. And if we subtract 320 with 112, we will get 208. It means there are 208 more children, more students. And if 96 are walking to school and 16 students travel to school by car, it means there would be a third category that are neither coming to school by car nor walking to school. Okay, so we can say that they are the remaining ones. Or you can say doesn't walk or travel by car. This is the third category. And how did we calculate it? By simply subtracting 112 with 320. Now, they're saying find the experimental probability that a particular student traveled by car to school. So there are 16 students who travel to school by car. It would be 16 upon total number of students multiplied by 100%. For the second part, walks to school. So there are 96 students who walk to school. So for part B, it would be 96 upon 320 multiplied by 100%. You see? And then who does not walk to school? So how many students walk to school? They are 96. So how many students does not walk to school? It would be 320 minus 96. First, we are going to subtract it. We will get the answer as 224. So the probability would be simple. 224 upon 320 multiplied by 100%. And then the last category does not walk or travel by car. It means this time we have to take the category where we have to add both of them, 96 and 16, and then we have to subtract it from 320, which is already we have done as 208. So it would be 208 upon 320 multiplied by 100%. In all these categories, first we are going to cut the zero with the zero in the numerator and the denominator. Then we have to simplify the given number. 16 ones are 16, 16 twos are 32, 2 ones are 2, 2 fives are 10. It means there are only 5% of students who travel to school by car. Then comes 32 and 96. So 16 6 are 96, 16 twos are 32, 2 ones are 2, 2 threes are 6, 3 tens are 30. It means 30% students walk to school. Okay. For part B, who does not walk to school, that is either they come to school by car or by some other means. So it would be 16 ones are 16. Then comes 22 minus 16 is equals to 6, 64. So 16 fours are 64. And then 16 twos are. 2 ones are 2, 2 sevens are. So it will be 70%. 7 tens are 70. It means 70% of the students does not walk to school. Okay. And then comes the last category. And we can see that if 30% students comes to school by walking, so it means the remaining, that is 100 minus 30, 70% would not be walking to school. And then comes the last category, that is the students who does not walk to school or travel to school by car would be 208 upon 32. So 16 ones are 60, but we cannot simplify it with 16 anymore because it would be, yes, we can. 16 ones are 16. 4 is remaining, and then 48, 16 threes are 48, 16 twos are 2 ones are 2, 2 fives are 10. So 13 fives are 65. It means 65% students does not walk to school or travel to school by car. Okay. And if you add the students who come to school by car or walk to school are 30 and 5% respectively, which is 35% if we add them. Their percentage is 35%. So the remaining ones would be 100 minus 65%, which is again 100 minus 35%, which is again 65%. So it means we have got the correct answer. Now let's do question number 3, which says Mrs. Patel drives to his work every day. Sometimes he must stop at a set of traffic lights. In the past working days, 50 working days. So an experiment has been carried out for 50 working days. She has stopped at this set of traffic lights 32 times. Out of 50, she has stopped. It means there are 50 working days. This is the total number of days for which the experiment has been carried out. And out of 50 working days, 32 times she has stopped at the set of traffic lights. Okay. Now we have to find the experimental probability that Mrs. Patel will have to stop at this set of lights tomorrow. So for this, what do we have to do? We will simply find the probability. That is, what was the probability of getting it stopped? So it would be 32 upon 50 multiplied by 100%. That's it. So it would be 0, 0 cut. 5 ones are 5, 5 twos are 10, 32 twos are 64%. So there is the probability of 64% that tomorrow she has to stop. And find the experimental probability that she will not have to stop. So it would be 50 minus 32, which is 18. What are we going to do? First, we are going to subtract 32 with 50 and we are going to get 18. It means there is the probability that she doesn't have to stop would be 18 upon 50 multiplied by 100%, which would be again 51s are 50, 52s are 100, 18 twos are 36%. So 36% probability is that she's not going to stop tomorrow. That is on any day. Okay. So they are talking about tomorrow specifically in part A, and they're talking about Wednesday specifically for any day. It could be any day in a week where we can apply this probability, experimental probability. That is, if out of 50 times she has been stopped 32 times, this is something not certain. This tells us that this usually happens. So on the basis of this experiment, we can say that there are more chances that she has to stop on any day because it's 64 times. That is 32 times out of 50. She has to stop. It means there is more chance that some other day she has to stop, and there is less chance that she won't have to. Okay. Now let's move to question number 4. Question number 4 says, Jasmine goes to school 5 days a week. How many times? She goes to school 5 days a week. In the past 8 weeks. So if she goes to school 5 days in a week, and the experiment has been carried out for 8 weeks, so 5 multiplied by 8 is equals to 40 days. It means an experiment has been carried out for 40 days. Okay. In 1 week, she is going for 5 days. So in 2 weeks, she'll be going for 5 plus 5 or 5 multiplied by 2, 10 days. Then in 3 weeks, 5 multiplied by 3, 15 days. So in 8 weeks, it would be 5 multiplied by 8, 40 days. Okay. So this is the total. Now they're saying she has been late for school on 3 days. For only 3 days out of 40 days, she has got late. Okay. Now, what do we have to do? We have to estimate the probability that tomorrow Jasmine will be late for school or on time. Because out of 40 days, she has been late for only 3 days. Only 3 days. It means the probability of getting late is very less than getting on time. So, the probability for getting late would be 3 out of 40 multiplied by 100%. Right? And the probability for getting on time would be 40 minus 3, which is 37 upon 40 multiplied by 100%. There is a greater chance that she'll be on time. Okay. but there is chance that she can get late. And how much is it? 0, 0 cut. 2 twos are 4. 2 fives are 10. So 3 fives are 15 upon 2%. And when we will divide 15 by 2, we will get the answer as 7.5%. It means 7.5% chances are there that she can get late some other day. And for 37 upon 40, again, we are going to do the same. 37 multiplied by 5 equals to 185 divided by 2, which is 92.5%. So there is a greater chance, quite greater, than getting late than getting on time. This is how we have to calculate the experimental probabilities for any experiment carried out. Now let's do question number 5, which says Carlos looks at the weather records for November for his town. He is looking at the records for only November, for the month of November for his town. Over the past 5 years, for the month of November, there are 30 days in November. Okay. So an experiment has been carried out for the month of November for 5 years. So how many days would be there? 30 multiplied by 5 is equals to 150 days, right? So even if they haven't told us about 150 days, we can easily calculate it by multiplying 30 with 5, because there are 30 days in November. And if the experiment has been carried out for 5 years, so there would be 30 multiplied by 5, that is 150 days in November for 5 years. So for 150 days, an experiment has been carried out, and they're telling us there has been rain on only 36 days out of 150 days. Okay. In these 150 days, rain has been experienced only 36 times. Use this information to estimate the following probabilities. Write your answers as percentages. First, we have to estimate the probability that it will rain on 1st November next year. It will rain. So how many times did it rain? Only 36 days. So the probability for getting rain would be 36 upon 150 multiplied by 100%. And estimate the probability that it will not rain on 30th November. They are basically trying to ask you that what is the probability that it will rain in any of the day in the November next, or it will not rain in any of the day coming in the next November. Okay. So it doesn't affect your answers. So for part A, it would be 36 upon 150 multiplied by 100%. And for part B, it would be 150 minus 36, which is 114 upon 150. Okay. So for this, you have to first subtract 36 with 150, which is 114. Now we will cut these zeros with one another. So we will get 5 twos are 10, 5 threes are 15, 3 ones are 3, 3 twelves are 36. So 12 twos are 24%. That is, there is 24% chance it would rain on any day in the November. And then again, 5 twos are 10, 5 threes are 15, 3 ones are 3, 3 threes are 9, and then 2 is left, 24, 3 eights are 24. 38 twos are 76%. So there is 76% chance that it will not rain on any specific day in November. There are less chances that it will rain, and there are more chances that it will not rain on any specific day in November. Okay. The next question, Aaron says, my team has won 15 out of our past 20 matches. That is, he had played 20 matches, out of which he won 15 matches. Okay, his team has won 15 matches, which is a good number. Okay, 15 out of 20. He's saying the probability we will win our next match is 75%. So how did Arun work out this probability? It's simple. Like, he took the number of matches he has won out of the total number of matches, and then he would have multiplied it with 100%, which is 0, 0 cut, 2 ones are 2, 2 fives are 10. And when we will multiply 15 with 5, we will get 75%. He is saying that since we have won 15 matches out of 20, so there is 75% chance still that for any upcoming match we will win, and there is a chance of getting a win is 75%. Now in part B, they're saying this is not a good way to estimate the probability. Why? Yes, although it's correct, he has calculated the probability, absolutely correct, but still this is not a good way to estimate the probability because there are some other factors involved. In winning or losing a match. Like it depends on how much strong your opposing team is, how much he has prepared for the, or what are the conditions of the ground, right, on which you are going to play the match. So this will vary from match to match. Therefore, the chance of winning depends on how good the opposing team is. Maybe he would have played with a very weak team earlier with 20 matches, okay? And now he is having a match with a very strong team. So this probability won't be applied every single time, okay? So you have to compare your answers to part B with your partner's answers and check that what answer has your partner written. For now, we have completed till question number 6, inshallah. In the next video, we are going to do a few more questions. Until then, take care. If you are new to my channel, do subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to share it with your friends. Allah Hafiz.